Hello, Ciara.
Hi, Analisa. Glad we're
Hello, everyone who's tuning in. We're so excited that you are here. We just opened the doors to find the next 50 farmers to join Top 50 Farmers, a growing community of regenerative pioneers across Europe. The doors opened on Tuesday, November 4th, and we already have the first applications coming in. And we wanted to take this moment for you to get to know part of our team, as well as answer some of your frequently asked questions about what is this organization? What is this opportunity? Who are these people? What does it mean to apply? What can I expect? All of those things. So here I am with Ciara, who's our program manager. Hey, Ciara.
Hi, Analisa.
It's good to see you. And I'm the co-founder of Top 50 Farmers. And we're just going to talk back and forth about why things are the way things are, what you can expect. And if you are tuning into this and you want to drop a question below, we will take them live. I already see some hearts coming through. Thank you for tuning in and listening. But how does that sound, Kiara? Are you ready to dive
Yes,
in?
I'm excited. I've never done an Instagram live before, but it looks good.
It's awesome. And give us some love for Kiara's first Instagram Live. Thank you for being here and for all the care and love. So, if you were to write a question to hello at top50farmers.org, or you had a question about the application process, who you would meet at the other end of that email is Kiara. And I'll have her explain in a second what her role is. But this woman puts so much love and care into the facilitation of the farmers that come into our space and really go on a year-long journey together where we look at how can we support the growth of your business so that we can build profitable, resilient, regenerative farming organizations and how that then ripples out to impact this entire movement. And I hope today we can talk a little bit more too about the bigger vision behind Top 50 Farmers and why we believe it's so important for farmers to get this recognition and why we really hope you will lend your voice to the movement and step in, step up to become part of this community. So, Kiara, maybe you can start by telling us who you are, where you're based, and how you got into farming. Like, how did you find your way into regenerative farming?
Yes. So, my dad is Irish and my mom is German. And I grew up. My dad actually is a tree surgeon, and my mom is really into animals. So I've always been into the whole biology, nature aspect of it all. I then went on to study environmental science and health, which was very heavy on kind of like environmental science and physics, chemistry, biology. And it kind of showed me that there was a lot of solutions to a lot of the modern day problems we face with the degradation of climate and biodiversity. But it seemed to not really stick. So there are actually a lot of technical solutions out there, but people don't really want to do them so much because it impacts our day to day lives as we know it. So then I figured it would be interesting to go into the social and human aspect of it all. And I did a master's in ethnobotany, so kind of the overlap between humans and plants. And then regenerative farming kind of started to pop up here and there. And that's kind of the first place that I learned about it. And then it just became more and more clear that the biggest impact we have on the daily with the natural world around us is the food system. And regenerative agriculture seems like such an amazing and simple way, well, not simple, but straightforward way to make a positive change and to support a transition to something that is more sustainable and actually also regenerative. So not just kind of not doing something bad, but actually adding something good back into it. And then I worked for a different NGO before this, for Footprint Germany, met Cindy, who is leading Footprint Nordic, and then found my way to Top 50 Farmers, where I'm today now as the program manager.
Totally. Foodprint Nordic is the mother organization that Top 50 Farmers sits underneath. So Cindy and I are the co-founders of that, but we also do a lot of work with gastronomy across Europe as well, looking at how do we connect the chefs who really want to be serving regenerative ingredients on the plate. But to do that, we also need to identify the amazing farmers across this continent who are doing the work. And it may feel sometimes that we are few in numbers, but that is also the power of this program. We really believe that if we connect the islands of regeneration, we realize that we actually are many and that we stand strong together. And that's one of the biggest things we've heard coming out of the first year of doing this is that many farmers felt so relieved to discover that they had a community and that whether you're in Estonia or Lithuania or you're in Scandinavia or in Southern Europe, that there are others like you who are doing the same impactful work in their communities. And then what happens when we create the space and go on a journey together to learn from one another? And the amount of solutions we've seen come through, I think the wisdom we have in our cohort is pretty incredible just from year one. And this would be part of the community that you will be joining and stepping into. We had farmers from 22 different European countries. We'd love to see representation from all of them. So we really encourage folks from all over Europe to apply. Our youngest farmer was 27, the oldest is 70. The smallest farm is half a hectare, and the biggest was 4,000 hectares. And then we have a wide range of different backgrounds where people are coming into this work, some of them from multi-generation family farms, others they were doing a professional career in London and then they decided to move back home and figure out how to farm. Some are self-taught, some have a formal education, some work in cooperatives, some are sole proprietors. It just really depends on what your journey is, but what we see is that everyone's story matters and that your story is an inspiration to somebody because they will see themselves in you. So why we focus so much on diversity when we're looking for the next 50 to join this and constantly how do we diversify our numbers more is that we know there's power in diversity and we know we need to change the stereotype around farming. In Europe, less than 12% of farmers are under the age of 40. So there's already a generational crisis of who's going to farm in the future and how do we attract this next generation? How do we show them that you can make a good living and you can do good by your community in this way? And that starts by having different role models, by really telling these stories. At Top 50 Farmers, I'm also responsible for all of our communications. So I'm the one that supports in bringing your story into the world and into the spotlight as part of this program. And when we first published them, we thought we were going to have so many journalists excited to do people of interest stories and talk about the farmers and these incredible stories of transformation, where in some instances the land was so degraded, so dead, so desertified that all the people had left the town. And through regeneration, they brought life back, not just in terms of the animals, but the fertility of the soil, which grew the food, which brought the people, which brought the culture, and brought the whole land back to life. And what we found is that this is still new for many folks. So we have to be the ones who go out there and tell our stories and share it so that others can find us and others can find this work. And that's really how we're going to grow this movement. So, Ciara, I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about your role and what exactly the recognition program is so we can give folks an idea that this isn't just a list. This isn't just that you get published and say, oh, I'm one of Europe's top 50 farmers. I'm one of the most inspiring role models throughout the continent. It's a lot more than that. So, can you give us a little intro to that?
Yes, so maybe I'll talk first about what I do. So I help coordinate everything in the recognition program. So everything from starting from farmers applying, leading them through the selection committee, and then also the farmer community, and then managing the recognition program. And basically making sure that the farmers' voices and their experiences and their interests are kind of like at the heart of what we do. Because when you join Top 50 Farmers, yes, it is a recognition award and an appreciation to kind of highlight all this amazing work that is being done and hopefully inspire, as you said, the next generation. But we're also trying to support these businesses, these farm businesses, and make them even better or support people in the specific challenges that they might have so that it can showcase even more that this is something viable and worth doing and maybe get into or something that someone else could adapt in their firms. So how the recognition program is built up is very much dependent on what the cohort is interested in and what needs they have and how we could best support them. So at the beginning, we have a listening session and invite feedback from the farmers, and we ask how we could best support them in their businesses, make them more confident. Is there anything they would be interested in learning more about? Can we facilitate connections that they are interested in? And then we try and build the recognition program based on that. So it's not us coming in from the outside, kind of offering random things we think are cool. It's that we're listening to what is really needed and what's interesting out there. And then we provide sessions based on that. And how it's been working so far is that we choose a monthly theme. So, for example, the current cohort has been really interested in the financial landscape of regenerative agriculture. And there's been a lot of questions about where to find funds, what type of funds make the most sense, how to make your farm maybe more, or the business, the farming business, more attractive to potential investors. And due to the fact that we have so many amazing farmers in the cohort, first of all, what we always try to do is reap the power and the knowledge and the expertise from within the cohort. So we facilitate peer sessions online where they can exchange and learn from each other and get practical advice. And you're going to be in a room of people who have probably faced similar challenges as you have and have they're also been chosen for this recognition program because they're doing amazing things. So chances are pretty high that someone will be able to give you practical advice.
Mm.
And then the other things that we do is if we where we see it fit, we also invite people from the outside to bring in inspirational, educational talks, expertise from whatever fields that they're in. So we usually have a peer session on a topic where farmers can exchange, and then we have expertise from the outside to really support the farmers gain more confidence, learn, get inspired, see what's working out there. And as you said, I think that that kind of connection is another bonus on top of the learning experience.
Totally. What's been some of the impact you've seen from the last year in terms of the recognition program and the benefits that have come out of it for farmers?
I would actually say it's not even done yet. We're not even done with the full year so far. So we're seeing it snowball and get bigger and better every month. But so far, we've seen collaborations between farms, people exchanging products, maybe that they to use on their respective farms or in their farm shops. We've seen also farmers gain obviously more visibility and maybe like we have a lot of people approaching us for looking for farmers to speak at their conferences or panels. We've seen like actually a lot of direct case studies where people have been inspired by someone, for example, sharing that the prices they are asking for specific products, which has made other people rethink their own pricing or their own approach to how they market their products. So I think the best outcomes are these direct exchanges from other farmers that can understand where you're coming from, and then you can put yourself in those shoes and see actual proper examples. People have been really generous with their knowledge and their insights and sharing numbers and being super honest. So I think that's a really big thing. And then we've also seen people just be so appreciative of the community that we've established. So I think that's actually also another really big point.
That's huge. And for those of you tuning in live with us, if you do have a question or if you're catching this replay, feel free to put it in the comments. We will answer you. Our team is ready and available. We want to support you in submitting your application. But Ciara, what you said is so important that when we were designing Top 50 Farmers and deciding how we're going to bring this organization to life, the first value we set out and determined was that we want to put farmers first. And what would it mean to live like that and to act like that as a company, as an organization? And that truly is what guides all of our decisions. That's why we do not take a top down approach in assuming that we know what you need, what your farm needs, what your business needs to go into the next stage of your growth. We take that collective conversation and then design the program specifically for you based on what you tell us in your application as you go through that. So we encourage your honesty and your transparency. And then after that, once we have the 50 selected, we speak together to really understand what do you want out of this year? How can we serve you the most? And we go to work to make that happen. So to be very specific about it, we see that there's three main benefits that the farmers walk away with. One is that you are recognized as one of Europe's leading regenerative farmers and a role model for your community. Many of the farmers that are in the first cohort are already role models in their community in that they're doing this, they are inspiring others. Sometimes they've been the only one, sometimes they're part of a bigger cluster, but they've also had a platform that they wanted to share. We see that there's a huge amount of generosity in terms of farmers wanting to get back to their communities. They might be doing policy work to change everything from the municipal level of how water works to the designations of what's a diversified farming business, because if everything's set up to support monocultures, how can we, there's also a lot of farmers who are technically breaking rules and breaking laws because they believe in farming regeneratively. So there's a lot here in terms of finding community that supports you and then figuring out where do we pool our resources and have this collective conversation to grow. Financing was totally another huge one, along with mental health. And how do we support rural communities in that regard so we can attract more people who are going to work in this space? And even the question of what does it mean to be a farm in the future? There's a lot of new business models emerging and different ideas of farms being places where diversity of all kinds meets, or gathering places and hubs. It's not just a place of production. There's so much more it can do also in agrotourism and bringing people back to nature and recreating that connection. So there's a lot of inspiration here. So one of the things that you get is this increased visibility in terms of when you are selected for top 50 farmers, we create a profile for you on our website and we share that story across all of our social channels. So you can check out last year's cohort by going to our website and see what those interest pieces look like. But this is diving into your background, how your farm went through transformation, how you run your business, and also what support you're looking for. We put that out to the greater world, and like a boomerang, we see what comes back. What support might you get? So it's really about increasing your platform, increasing your visibility. We've also seen that farmers have used the title of being one of the top 50 to bring on more investors. It's brought credibility. It does do something in terms of people going, oh, wow, that must mean you're doing something very interesting or cool over here. And that's awesome. We want you to get more attention in your business to grow in that capacity. So you get recognition. We also look at how are you growing your business through the recognition program and bringing those resources towards you, as well as connect and learn from peers. So that's both from the other members of the cohort, the alumni, as well as other speakers, people who have a lot of knowledge on a certain topic, if that's what you tell us you're looking for, that we then bring in. So that's what you can expect if you become part of the recognition program. And I'd love for us to talk a little bit now about who we're looking for, because there is specific eligibility requirements of what it is that you need to have in place to be a regenerative farmer. Can you talk us through that?
Yes. So I would say it would be an open call for any farmers in Europe that are working towards regeneration. So we're not, as you said before, you were talking about the scale, the different scale of farms. So it's not that it has to be a massive project. It can be a smaller scale again, or maybe you're transitioning a huge conventional farm into the regenerative pathway. So first of all, it doesn't really matter how big the farm is or how it's not so much also about that everything is 100% perfect regenerative yet. We're really interested in also this diverse spectrum of people working towards this end goal, because that's also something that will act as a role model. If other people can see that it can be done with a really giant conventional production, that's also a really great thing to highlight. But it has to be, the farm has to be in Europe, so the continent of Europe, not so much the EU. So UK would also, for example, be totally welcome. And it has to be registered as a farm business, so it can't be like a hobby project. And then the requirement is that there have been the regenerative methods that have been applied for at least a year on the farm. The crops must spend the majority of their time in soil. And in case you are a cooperative, we understand that there's a lot of like team effort that goes into these kind of farms, but you do have to choose one farm representative to kind of stand as one of the top 50 farmers in your place. I think that's all of the eligibility
Yes.
criteria.
I'm just going to reiterate and build on that, that you have to have been applying regenerative practices for a minimum of a year with a clear goal of how you are going to phase out the use of synthetic fertilizers or chemical inputs of any kind. And we do this because as an organization, we hold a very high bar for what the future of agriculture will be. And our dream, what we are fighting for every single day, is that regenerative agriculture is going to be the industry standard. And we believe that to get there, we do need to spotlight these stories of transition, showing that it is a journey. Regeneration is not a moment where you arrive and you get an A plus and you're done. It's a lifestyle. Hello, cat.
Sorry.
Surprise. But it isn't a moment where it's like you get an A for the day, you're done. It is a mindset shift. It is a way of being. And that is really what we're supporting here. So it is okay if you are in transition, but you need to have a clear plan for how you're phasing it out. And we ask you to communicate that within the application. We also do only take farmers from the EU, including the EEA, the UK. And this is because we are also focused on regeneration in the context of our own backyard. So we would love to support farmers from other parts of the world, but at this moment, we don't have capacity to do that as an organization. Maybe one day, let's see. So we really focus on how do we support the European movement and have that specific idea. And just to highlight again why you need to choose one farm representative. So even if you're a partner or in a relationship or you're a cooperative, we ask that you put forward a farm leader. So this is someone who can speak on behalf of your organization, that would be comfortable with media appearances, who doesn't mind being out there or has a desire to grow in this capacity, because we are going to be shining a pretty major spotlight on your farm. The nuance of this is that when we tell your story, it takes pointed departure in that farm leader who's named as the representative, but we speak about the whole team and the whole operation of the farm. We use visuals that show your team, so it isn't just all about you. But that is also very key for us as an organization to have a key point of contact that has been designated. And it is called Top 50 Farmers, not Top 50 Farms. So we ask that you be very clear about that in your application. And I think it's also good if we talk about those who applied last year who maybe didn't get in, but are thinking about applying again and what that means for them, what that looks like.
Yes, just one more thing about the farm representative, just that I wanted to add was that we have all these amazing learning opportunities in the recognition program. They're all online. So it's not that we exclude any of the farm team from any of those possibilities. So even though it will be one representative, anyone from the farm is then welcome to obviously attend those master classes or gain more knowledge from the cohort. So that is an open invitation to the entire farm team, which I think is also really, really important because maybe it's more interesting for the lead agroforestry person to listen in on specific topics.
Totally.
Yes, for farmers who applied last year, that was our very first year, and I think it actually will only get better now. So that's one reason to reapply again. We have now 50 farmers in our first cohort, which will go into the alumni. Um, into the alumni. So you will only reap the benefits of the 50 people you're in the cohort with, but also the amazing 50 people that came before and so on. So I think it's actually every year it will get better because there will be more amazing peers to connect with. And another fact is also that we just got so many amazing applications. Unfortunately, it's called Top 50 Farmers, so we had to choose and limit it down. But there was amazing people that applied last year, so we'd love to see them again. A reason why some of them could not be selected was, as you mentioned in the very beginning, we are trying to make this a very diverse cohort, and we're trying to have as many countries as possible reflected in the top 50 farmer cohorts to act as role models from all different parts of Europe, so that farmers from all different parts of Europe can then get inspired and see how this could work in their respective countries. And we just, for example, last year saw so many amazing farmers from the Mediterranean area that we kind of had to put in a country cap so that we would not have 50 farmers predominantly from three certain countries. So I actually think there was amazing farmers that we should definitely see in this year's applications. And it's not so much. I know it's obviously an award and it's an exciting thing to be selected, but it's not so much a huge competition. We're trying to get everyone on board. We would love to have at some point the problem that we've already selected everyone and that everyone is now farming in this way, as you said, to make it like the norm, the industry standard. So I would really hope to see some of the farmers reapply again and then hopefully join this amazing cohort.
Yes, please don't give up. Your farm has grown since last year. And if you don't apply this year, please apply next year. We do have a place in the application where you can indicate if you have applied before, and we do take note of your perseverance and your grit. The application since last year did change, so you will have to fill out a new one, and there's new questions based on what we learned and how we can better tailor the program. But as Ciara said, this really is also a mindset shift because so much of recognition is based on examples like the Michelin Guide or World's 50 Best Restaurants, where there's this idea that someone is number one. That is not what we're doing here. We are looking for 50 diverse role models that we can spotlight, and every year we're going to add 50 more, which shows that a rising tide lifts all boats. folks, the regenerative movement across Europe is growing. We often hear the argument that regeneration isn't possible in my neighborhood. This would never work here, that culturally, politically, socially, whatever. And we are proving them wrong with each of your examples. And that is really the fabric that we're stitching together and the blueprint that shows what the future can look like. So know that we really do wish we could take everyone. We can't, and we do look at how do we get representation of many different kinds. And if you are not accepted, that does not mean that you are farming badly or it's a reflection of something. We are always looking at ways we can further bring in people and support this overall. So it really is a mindset shift away from it's number one, it says something about my farm. We know there's disappointment, but we want you to feel that from our hearts and know how this connects to the greater vision and the mission we're all a part of when it comes to making the regenerative agriculture the industry standard. And there is something interesting about our process where folks can be nominated or they can apply directly. And I think we should clear up what that looks like, what it means, because nomination, you take it, you explain the difference of the nomination and the application.
Yes. So it's kind of another step of appreciation. So nomination is if you're not personally a farmer, or maybe you are, but you'd also like to bring in some of your colleagues into this movement. It's a way to give them a message and send them a bit of love and appreciation. And I don't think farmers would hear this often enough, but to be thankful for these people who are doing amazing work and who are producing beautiful food. So it's a way to go through our website, nominate a farmer that you know. It will first of all put us into contact with them, but it will also, like, the message you write out and the reason why you explain why you think this farmer should be nominated for top 50 farmers is a really nice boost for them as well. And I would say the most important thing is maybe make it also known why you think the farmer should apply for top 50 farmers, because these people are also really busy doing all the work on the field. And I think it's always nice to hear what someone else thinks about you, and that'll also give them a push in the right direction, and also maybe have them thinking about the great work that they are actually doing. Because sometimes if you've been doing this and you're doing it out of conviction of your values, maybe you don't even realize how great of a work you're doing, and it's something that will help them when they eventually have to write the application. Because everyone who's nominated also has to actually fill out an application.
Yes.
So it's the nomination is a way of them feeling appreciated, getting a bit of a push to apply for this because someone believes in them, and then also makes them also maybe aware in the first place that this program and this opportunity exists. And then the actual application, everyone has to fill out, because there's a lot of questions that go in that we think is really important to hear from the farmer themselves. That's why you can't nominate someone in their name. So there's a lot of then questions that go into their personal background, their story, how they came to this type of farming, what they're doing, and their vision where they want to go. So those are the two different points. Everyone has to fill out an application. You don't have to be nominated. It's just a way to spread the word and to make these farmers feel loved and appreciated. And I think it was something really beautiful last year. The feedback we got was that even just these nominations made farmers feel so nice, because I don't think they hear it often enough. And then sometimes we got farmers that finally applied after they got their fourth nomination, because they felt like, okay, I've been mentioned so many times. I'm going to do it for the other people. I wouldn't really do this for myself. So
Yeah. We appreciate your humbleness, and this is not a moment to be humble. If you are doing work in this regenerative space, if you would love to be part of this community, please apply and know that then we do the work of how we can support you in other capacities. But this is part of the nomination. So if you're listening to this and you're just curious about our organization and you know a great farmer, please do nominate them. It does do a lot and it helps to further put them on the map. We stay in touch that even if it's not this year, it could be next year. And I just want to add too that you're so right with the application process, that for many farmers, it's also quite fun filling out the application because it requires you to take a moment and pause on your journey of entrepreneurship to recognize how far you've already come and how incredible your work is. And we designed that very deliberately. We got great feedback from folks that were and were not selected, that just the application was meaningful and added value because what it created for the team and that holistic understanding. For others, they had never actually shared their story, or they had never taken the time to write it and kind of create marketing materials and presence that it helped to refine or flesh something out. And you should know that in the application, we ask you for all the information we're going to need, that when we announce who the 50 farmers are in the beginning of next year, we are ready to go. So it is extensive in terms of asking about your story, your vision, what's the story of your farm's transition? Can you give us some photos, a headshot of you? We need a picture of you so that we can share that around, as well as your team and pictures of life on your farm. You're asked to add a 3-minute application video where you show us around your farm, tell us your motivation, and we can really hear from you and feel you. And all of that then gets used for creating your public profile. So if you want to see what that looks like and inspiration from last year, we do have an application checklist that's on our website. You can also go to the link in our bio to find that. And it's a really nice way to get inspiration as well as see what's needed. So you can spend some time thinking about it before you jump into the application process. Do you have anything to add to that, Ciara?
In terms of how to make it the best application, kind of
Yeah.
application tips, I would
You've
say,
read them all. You know, you've seen it all.
I would say, as you said, it's not the place to be humble. I would say it is the place to kind of really spotlight and give us a feeling for what you're doing, because it's really hard to like we're only going to be judging people on what the well, we're going not judging someone, but kind of in the end, I guess the selection committee will be picking or judging or looking at
Selecting.
selecting, yeah, based
Selecting.
on the information that we're given. So we have to know what's happening, and you can be proud of the work you're doing. So I think you should be proud and be open and really highlight the highs. But I also think, and that's I think where someone from the outset can really help. So that's why I think maybe it's interesting to read the nominations if you do get nominated, or get some feedback from people around you. Like, what do you think is, why do you think I should apply for this? I think it's a really nice way to get to get off of this kind of playing yourself down. Because it might be intimidating to think of yourself as one of the top 50 farmers or one of the role models. We got that feedback as well, that they feel like it's not, like, why should I be selected? So I think it is not a place to be humble. Just try it out. And then on the other hand, it is also really, I think it's also important to be honest about the lows as well. So I think it will give a more authentic and fuller picture and give the selection committee a better impression of all the hurdles you've overcome, and tell us what worked, but also what didn't work. And it gives you a more human picture and gives us a better feeling for the actual farmer behind it, for the human that will be highlighted, for the person that will be part of this community. It's just so much more touching, I guess, or it gives you a better feeling and of the vibes of the person if you give
Totally.
us the entire picture. So I would say it's a place to be like honest and proud and open, and the more detailed and authentic you are, also with your vision and where you're trying to go, um, it'll just give a better, higher chances for us to really see who this person is that's applying, because it's never easy to work off an application, and we will never be able to see it 100%. But maybe another tip would be to have someone look over it, like a family member or a team member, and see if they think anything is missing, anything important that you didn't think of, something great that's happening on the farm, or that you just think is normal because it's such a big part of how you work. But actually, it's really impressive and it's actually really like admirable. So I think those would be my top tips. And then also to not shy away from, again, really authentic visuals and video production. We love a great produced video. It's amazing to watch, but at the same time, it was also so touching to watch people that had just filmed with their phone last year and were really honest and were speaking into the camera from their heart with really bad lighting. It's just about the person to be really, really, what's the word? Yeah, really authentic. And you can also, for the videos, for example, speak in your own language, because we will add, either you can add your own subtitles if you know how to do that, but otherwise, if not, don't worry, we will just add them for you, which I think can make people be a bit more comfortable as well when they're speaking kind of in their own mother tongue. So yeah, I
Yes.
think those are
We
my.
we are open-minded of how you're going to fill out this application, and we find the gold in it no matter what. We do conduct everything we do in English because we are serving so many different nations across Europe. With that said, you are more than welcome to, again, record in your language. And some people brought in translation support. So even if they nominated a farm leader that only spoke Italian, they had someone on their team that could then be a liaison and support. So don't let that hold you back either. We are open and we find a way. You let us know. You can also write us if you're wondering anything else. And I think to round this out, the only thing we haven't covered is what the selection process looks like and the deadlines we have ahead, and then what they can expect after that. So, can you walk us through the selection timeline and how that all looks?
Yes, so I don't actually have the number of days that are left now, but we opened, I think maybe it should be like 19 days that are left on the selection window, but we closed,
November 23rd at
yes, I know that one.
midnight is
So
when
that
the
is,
deadline closes. So, you
or,
have whatever you're listening to
yes,
this to November 23rd.
exactly. Or, so that's in Central European time, or until we get 150 applications. So that is just also because we want the selection committee to not have to shorten the amount of time that they give every application. You will be spending your valuable time filling this application out and being as reflective as possible. And we want the selection committee to give each application the time it deserves. So we have only calculated that for a maximum of 150 applications. So the sooner you get that in, the better.
Yep.
And yes, so then applications will close on November 23rd, and there will be kind of a break until the new year. So we really want to be have the opportunity to in-depth look first for if all the criteria and eligibility criteria are obviously fulfilled, but then it's going to be a process of looking through all these applications, reading them through, watching all these videos, trying to also establish the geographic diversity that we hope to see in the cohort. So the actual announcements won't be until March. So of
That's
next
right.
year. Everyone will be contacted. Everyone will be kept in the loop. So anyone that applies will hear from us for sure.
Yes, and we hope you will come potentially to the recognition ceremony, no matter the outcome, to celebrate the farmers in these stories. And that even if you're not selected, you still follow these folks on Instagram. They are your community. Everyone has something to offer. Again, this is about building a greater movement here. And the only thing I wanted to add to what you just said was that our selection committee themselves will be announced in December next
Yeah.
month. And those folks are people who have deep knowledge of this space. So know that your application is being read by people who really care about the regenerative movement, about regenerative farms and regenerative farmers. And they come with a variety of different angles. So there's some folks that know everything about soil. Others are experts in communications. Some know about building regenerative organizations. We aim to also have diversity of perspective in that group, as well as geographic representation, so that there is different ideas coming into it. So we as a team do not choose exactly who it is. There is a whole process. We'll probably talk more about that later on as we get closer. Right now, your focus is to make that application. And if you do have any more questions, please drop them in the comments here or write us an email. You can send us a DM. We are standing ready. What would be your final words, Ciara? The hope you have. Any last things you want to say to our people listening?
Yes, so this is something we spoke about internally as well. We had such a great, or we still have such a great inaugural cohort, the very first 50 farmers we selected last year. And I just really hope to see the same kind of excitement for this type of project. So it would be so lovely if you could try and bring across this kind of excitement for the regenerative transition and why you're in this and kind of like the heart and soul. If you manage to bring this across in the applications, I think that makes it a lot stronger, because that's kind of also what we're looking for. Why the reasons why you're interested in joining Top 50 Farmers, and kind of like the heart and soul behind it really is touching when you watch the videos or when you read the applications. And I think that kind of human aspect then translates really beautiful and makes us excited as well about working, and makes the other farmers excited to be in a room with you, to learn from you. So I think
Mm.
that's what I'm looking forward to the most. How about you?
I would completely agree with what you say. We want to feel your care, and we're just so excited to meet you. We are just sitting, like refreshing the web
Yes.
page, waiting to see, has anyone else applied today? Who is it now? What is it going to be? We read every single nomination that comes in. We cheer that on. We're so grateful to every member of the community that actually recognizes a farmer and knows the name of a farmer. Because let's be real, most people they could not name a farmer if you asked them. So just that we're doing this is building a muscle in society that is really, really important. And yeah, we can't wait to meet you. I also think we just need to end by knowing the name of your cat who's been present with us this whole time.
Both.
Rufus?
And both.
Oh, hi, Bubby.
We
Yes.
had a
We love
little
we love
ditch.
all our farm animals. We love when you give us
Yeah,
the photos of your favorite farm dog or whatever else too. It's great.
exactly. Exactly.
So, thank you all so much for tuning in. And we are standing by ready to receive you. We hope to hear from you soon. Remember, the deadline is November 23rd, or when we get 150 applications, whichever comes first. So do not delay in creating your application. If you have any questions, let us know.
Yes,
We'll
I'll be
talk to you
here for
soon.
any questions and any kind of support you need.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.